What? Oh, we're doing that now. Okay, sorry, folks. Just had to attend to my little pet there. You can really stop now. I mean, are you gonna continue being difficult? I mean, come on, stop being like that, or I'm just gonna. Sorry about that, everyone. Well, um, things happen, I guess. It's fine. Everything's going well. Nothing's wrong. Well, what are you gonna do? You know, animals and all. But in other things, how about that Halloween costume, eh? Yeah, here we go. Look at me. I'm so funky. Unfortunately, though, I'm a rather stiff, like a statue in this. So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna turn back. Wait. Dear God, I discombobulated myself again. Okay, well, sorry about that. I guess you're not gonna see my beautiful face, but don't worry. Show will still continue, so stay here. Alright, with that brief little comedic intro out the way, let's go into the main topic of today's video. Horror games, and what I deem to be the difference between in a good and a, well, I wouldn't say bad, but a good and a better piece of horror, in my opinion. I I'd best say that it's kind of like saying there's two types of horror. There's, and I use these two types of. Ugh, Just start over that one because I'm pretty sure I just got myself into a bit of a dead end in terms of my words. So the best way I can describe it is putting into two genres or types, that being terror and horror. Horror focuses more on the immediate scare, the immediate sort of reactions, the things that make the instincts that we were born with go all hoo-ha. But meanwhile, terror builds off the parts of us that we as humans are, the parts of the psychology. Psychological horror is more in the terror department. And overall, it's a bit of a slippery slope. For instance, I'd say that Bendy and the Ink Machine and Bendy and the Dark Revival is in the horror side of things. And as much as they do have moments that build up dread, they don't exactly focus on it. It's definitely more around the immediate, ooh, there's a scary thing in front of you. Although it does really well at building atmosphere here before it reaches that point. Meanwhile, in more the vein of terror, we have stuff like Iron Lung, which, in a lot of ways, ironically, I like to compare to Jaws, as throughout that film, we don't actually get many full view shots of Bruce, the titular little shark. It's only really near to the end of the film that we ever really get a clear view of him. And the same goes for Iron Lung. You only catch only a couple of glances at whatever this thing is if any. And heck, it's even said that maybe that's the photo that we get where it's just the eye might not even be this frog thing, as it's called. Well, however, there is one type of horror, terror, whatever media that's acts like a bridge. That being sort of a hybridization, a gray area. And the best thing I can use to visualize it, Amnesia and the entirety of cannot English say this is what I get for recording in the early hours of the morning. So, anyways, Amnesia. As much as you may think that it's, well, at least immediately think that's, just, ooh, scary monsters, and yeah, it does like flaunting its monsters in your face. But personally, I feel like one of the best ways to describe how it handles this gray area is with their most recent installment, Amnesia the Bunker. Now, before we even get to see the beast, as it's called, there's so much build up to it. From stuff like the holes in the walls, to the man that gets killed, to the simple little notes that get scattered around. Like the one right next to the generator that specifically says, hey, this thing does not like light. Right, keep this generator on. And that warning tells you that you gotta be afraid of this thing, because these were soldiers. And even though that this was a much less supplied bunker, or as far as we're told, it still had weapons. It still had arms, and yet, apparently none of this worked against the beast. And even when the beast shows up, its design is made to confuse you. The way how it moves, and just generally, a lot of the time you don't see its full body. You see its face, or a portion of its face, and then like maybe some of its hands. Which, if we go, well, I can't really go back because PowerPoint. But with this, a lot of the way how it moves, it obscures a lot of its body. It makes it confusing to look at. It makes you second guess any movement. And stuff like the rats, they make it even worse. Because, I mean, you see a slight bit of movement, you're worrying, oh god, it's the beast. But no, it's in fact just a bunch of rats. Rats. And the most dreadful moment is like somewhere near the end of the game, in which maybe slightly spoilers, so might want to skip ahead. Like, just spam the like 10 seconds forward thing until you see the next slide. Is that when it breaches a hole into your safe room. Now, and it doesn't come out immediately, it just leaves the hole there. You don't even really get notified, you have to notice it. And that is just absolutely mortifying, and and all this dread is just amplified. Anyways, to those now returning, and all this dread that it builds up over the course of its games are just amplified by the monster designs. I mean, this fella right here pretty much was the face of horror games back in like 2012. Oh, then that's no easy feat. This man was being out slender. Well, anyways, enough of me talking about stuff like that. Time to get to one of the main points of this video, and that is me just making my own little concepts for horror games. 2 of the horror variety, 2 of the terror variety, and 1 of the middle ground. Okay, here we go. First of all, we have I can't even pronounce it myself. I'm pretty sure it says Cuniculum Infinitum. Yeah, I'll just say that. And the goal throughout this little game is to go around the mines, do mining duties and whatnot, but under the constant threat of these things. Things probably give some, like, text as well, like saying, oh, you're not expected to return, pressure expendables. But yeah, the point is this thing just chases you throughout. It doesn't let up, it just keeps chasing. And with the goal being completing your task while it's still chasing you, or or try to get some kind of like high score by completing as many tasks as possible in an endless loop until eventually it captures you. And now for a more story-driven game, we have the away game, in which I actually based this one off a real mascot. I'm pretty sure they're called like Purdue Pete or something. But yeah, their unsettling Woody-esque face really spoke to me for this. And also, this is kind of a play on words of mascot horror. Ooh hoo hoo. Even though technically speaking, this isn't not anal. What the hell am I talking about? This isn't mascot horror because, well, it's not meant to be something that's like a mascot to horror. It's a literal mascot. And, and throughout, oh, you'd be traveling around these different sort of sports areas, and the goal would be to win these sort of horrorized sports games. If you failed, this guy would kill you with his good old hammer. But everything being that, and everyone was pretty much kidnapped by this guy, and it's either kill or be killed. It's either them or you. Ooh, woohoo. Anyways, going on to terror, we have Peeping Tom. Now, if you're aware of the phrases, you can probably tell what this is gonna be, especially with also its design. And pretty much what this would be is that you just be this person over the course of a week, and you just be trying to complete your tasks, your daily chores, your errands, your mundane activities. He's probably in like a day and night cycle, all the while being tormented by this thing which doesn't ever attack, it just stares at you. Who, even by the end of the game, it never attacked, it just observed. Sure, sometimes it might have peeped its head through the window, and looked at you right in the eyes, but it never attacked. Ooh, spooky. Anyways, going forward once more. Geez, I say going forward a lot, don't I? Ugh. Anyways, cryptid capture with Mr. Redface over here. Here, the whole goal of the game would be to explore or an abandoned location and try to take as many photos of this guy. Before it eventually became agitated, your trespassing whatnots, and killed you. Pretty simple, good old chances for some stalking behavior. Get some unnerving photos. Hmm. And now for the hybrid game, in which I present to you the anti-church with the angel. Now this one's gonna need a bit more explaining, so get slightly more comfy than the other ones. So, it starts off with you being some kind of investigator, and you've been hearing about these weird complaints about noises from beneath the local church. Ooh, spooky. And in an attempt to investigate it, and you suddenly get knocked out by the priest and thrown down into this big open cellar. And you're pretty much forced to play a game of cat and mouse with this big old thing. But here's the kicker. You know that whole gimmick that Hello Neighbor originally hinged on before it became buggy and really shitty? That learning AI? Yeah, this whole game would center around that. And what? You'd be tasked with escaping in gruesome method, and all the while this thing would slowly learn your tactics, your tricks, everything about you, the way how you behave. If you use you disappear in a certain spot too much. You'll check the hiding spots more, or to the extent that it might sweep the entire room. It might even try by pulling an Aoni, which, if you didn't know, there's actually a small chance that the monster in the game Aoni will, while you're in a closet, open the door and close it, but not leave the room. So yeah, if you remember that in the game, there's something terrifying to think about, the fact that it actually knows something's up and will test to see if it's correct. But anyways, by the end, it's all fruitless. You manage to get to the doorway to the exit, but instead you're met by the priest with a revolver and bang. You're fed to this thing which they deem an angel. Now, back on to the regularly scheduled goofy programs. Oh man, that really didn't feel like great, but oh well. We're doing good, and anyways, I should be getting that Bendy rewrite done soon, so yeah. Ahem. I mean, I can still play with that on the side and do work on the Bendy rewrite. Well, sorry folks, guess we're gonna delay things by quite a lot. Sorry, but I'm only human after all. Down.